Honorable Prime Minister, other cabinet colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I promise you I will not go 40 minutes as you're guilty? Well, apparently cap fit somebody because only one person answering, but I will not go 40 minutes. You know, as I sat there this evening, I looked around the room and I said to myself that this is indeed a very historic meeting. A very, very historic meeting. And I'm sure that if you look around the room, you will come to the very same conclusion. Just look around, look behind you, look in front of you, look to your left, look to your right. And tell me, what do you see? Pardon? One person said a lot of orange shorts. One person said woman power. AJ, what you said? AJ said beautiful people. You see unity and love. And that is exactly what I see when I look around the room. Unity and love. And in particular, I want to say that I see unity around the room. I am the leader of the People's Action Movement. And there are 2 seats in St. Kitts which Pam has never won. This is one of the seats. But when I look in here this evening, I see Pam supporters, and sometimes we say big Pam, small Pam, and so if we want to look at it that way, we see persons like Richard Keynes, who we would say big Pam supporter, because Richard Keynes has been a founder of the People's Action Movement. But you also see, apart from Richard Keynes, you see former ministers of PAM, you see current ministers of PAM, and you see supporters of the People's Action Movement. You see persons who would have supported the Labour Party here in this room, and persons who are now supporting PLP in this room. You see in this room the former premier and leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement. And for those of you who may not know him, right in front you also have Marvin Hanley, who is the PR to the current Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. And so when you look in the room, as I said, you see unity. And so I am happy to be here at this meeting this evening and to be a part of this Team Unity administration. Likewise, you should be happy because you're here and you're part of a historic moment in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't take it for granted. Because, again, we are in West Bastille, a constituency that has traditionally supported the other party. And so I am happy to see persons from all different political persuasions here in West Bastille, because it says to me that Team Unity can win here in West Bastille. It also says to me that perhaps more importantly, that is why this Team Unity government cannot afford to leave out anyone. The PAM supporters, we cannot afford to leave them out. Those who support Labour and, of course, ready to come over, we have not and we will not leave them out. The PLP supporters, they cannot be left out. And similarly, the CCM supporters cannot be left out, because unity is about all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We haven't been leaving out this constituency either, because we recognize, as I said, that we are government which must look after all of the people. And so here in West Bastille, we have ensured that you are also getting your fair share here in West Bastille. We came to you in 2015 and we said, fair share for all. Fair share for all. And we're ensuring that you get your fair share. Because the truth is that in West Bastille, you could have gotten better under the former administration. When Sam Conda broke away from the former administration, you were victimized here in West Bastille. You were victimized. I remember when I became the Minister of Sports and I went down to the Boyd's playfield. I didn't believe it was a playfield down there. It more looked like a pasture for animals to graze on. And I said, as minister with responsibility for sports, the young people of West Bastille, they must have a proper playfield to play on. And within less than 5 years, you have had a proper playfield in West Bastille delivered to the residents of Boyd's community. Before, I remember one morning, we had Skelec down at Boyd's putting up the lights. By the time I went there the afternoon, you could have sworn that the playfield had been commissioned long ago, because the young men were down there playing football the very same day. They were waiting on that playfield to be delivered. Since then, we have put a basketball court down there. Admittedly, we have had some issues with getting the pole and the rims erected. And since then, a decision has been taken to change the rims and the poles down there to ensure that you have modern poles and rims in Boyd's. And I can say to you that those poles and rims are there, and within the next week or two, they will be erected down in the Boyd's community. There's supposed to be an area down there for the children to be able to utilize. The swings and all the other stuff that you have for children, and a walking area for those, the adults, who want to do some exercise. And the peers with responsibility for sports can say to you that I've already issued instructions to get a quotation on the stuff for the children play area, because as soon as possible we want to ensure that those equipment are installed for the children in Boyd's to be able to use. I said to you that very shortly the children of Boyd's will be able to use the area which has been designated for them to utilize. Oh, that was a question tonight? All right. But it's not just Boyd's we're looking after as a team unity administration, because Boyd's isn't the only area here in West Bastille. You have the playfield right here, Patsy Allen's playfield. And the fact is that for a number of years when you speak about football in St. Kitts and Nevis, one of the contending teams that you speak to is the team right here from in the West Bastille area. That team, that football team is in need of proper facilities. And similarly, the Ministry of Sports has taken a decision that we are going to upgrade the Patsy Allen's playfield. A few years ago, you had the bathrooms being burnt. No repairs to them. And that can't continue in this community. There's no clubhouse for the players there to use. And so it is our intention to put a clubhouse there. There's no area in that playfield for persons to be able to set up a little bar and sell, unless you're going to put up some kind of tent. And so we are going to ensure that the Patsy Allos playfield is upgraded by the Team Unity administration. You have the McKnight Daycare Center and the Ministry of Education. There are some issues with the McKnight Daycare Center. After the last hurricane, we have experienced some leaks there. Unfortunately, though, we have had to do some extensive repairs at the industrial site preschool, and so you have some of those children being housed at the McKnight Daycare Center. The ministry is waiting for industrial site to finish, and then we will do the repairs to the roof at the McKnight Daycare Center, because we consider our children to be our most valuable assets. And so that is coming. But it's not just the McKnight Daycare Center I know the people of West Bastille are concerned about. You have children attending the Bastille High School, and this government, when we recognize that your children was going to facilities that were deemed not to be healthy, we took a decision to close down the Bastille High School, to end the shift system, and to build temporary facilities. We have been speaking with the contractor to ensure that as soon as possible, you get your brand new Bastille High School. The Minister of Public Infrastructure is here, and he can verify that about 2 weeks ago, we got an update from the contractor in terms of where we are with the Bastille High School. We got an update on the Memorandum of Understanding, and so we know that progress is being made relative to the construction of the Bastille High School. I am saying here that I don't expect next year to be coming back to you to say construction hasn't begun as yet on the Bastille High School. Construction must begin this year for that brand new Bastille High School. Before I go on to some of the other matters, I want to touch a different matter. In 2004, I became the elected representative for Constituency number 5. If my math is correct, I was 31 years at the time when I became the elected representative for Sandy Point. 31 years. And so between 2004 and 2015, I had 2 terms in opposition. Every single meeting of Parliament, once I was available, I attended Parliament. Because my job was to represent the people of Sandy Point. The first term wasn't the easiest one, because at that point in time, the current opposition had 7 of the seats, and Pam only held 1 of the seats in Parliament. But I went, I persevered. You had persons like the current Prime Minister who sometimes when I got up to speak, he got up and he opposed me. But just as he got up and he opposed me, I got up and I opposed him. That isn't really the point that I want to make, though. The point that I want to make is that from 2004 to 2015, regardless of the circumstances in Parliament, there is no former Speaker or current Speaker of Parliament who can ever say that Shawn Richards was disrespectful, and Shawn Richards not once ever got thrown out of Parliament. Never once got thrown out. Because if the Speaker spoke to me, I listened. And I valued the advice which was given to me. The more important thing, as I said, was representing the people. Representing the people. You have a current representative who was elected in 2015. at the age of 32, a year or so older than I was at the time, and was already being thrown out of Parliament about 2 to 3 times. Rather than being in there, representing you, constantly being thrown out of Parliament. 3 years as a representative for West Bastille, and 3 times already being thrown out of Parliament for rudeness. Is that the type of representation you're looking for in West Bastille? That's not the type of representation you need. You need a representative, regardless of the circumstances, will stay in Parliament and represent you. You know, as I look in the second row, I see Antonio Maynard. Antonio is the uncle of the current representative for West Bastille. But Antonio is here at a meeting of Team Unity. Now, I don't know the relationship between Antonio and his nephew. But if you have a good relationship, tell him not only as your representative, but as a family member, you cannot be satisfied with the representation he's giving to the people of West Bastille, and perhaps that is why you are at a meeting of Team Unity. Because you want better representation here in West Bastille. The interesting thing is, when I was in opposition, I wrote letters to the former administration about matters affecting my constituency. I held demonstrations in my constituency, sometimes by myself. Not a soul else with me. Sleep on the hospital step. You want the Minister of Health then? When the decision was taken to close Paxton Hospital, and I spoke and wrote to whoever I needed to speak to on behalf of representation for the people. Interestingly, the Bites Field, I've never heard anything about it from the current representative. Not a single question as to what is happening at that playfield. And it's not like we don't get along, because we get along even before he entered politics. The Map Night, Daycare Center, not a thing about that. Dr. William Primary School, nothing about it. Patsy Ellis Playfield, nothing about it. The only question he ever asked me about is Calypso. And he finished with Calypso. He told me a suggestion for me and the chairman of Carnival. So it wasn't even about the persons from this constituency involved in the art of Calypso. Never ever came to ask a question as to what is being done, be it by education, youth, sport, or culture, to help the people in West Bastille. That is shameful. When I get questions about West Bastille, I get them from Senator Byron. I get from persons like Weeks, who would call me and say, this person looking for a job. You don't have any vacancy to help out this person from West Bastille? I get questions from persons like Varlin in the back about this constituency. Those persons appear to more care and more be the representative of this constituency than the current representative. You, the people of West Bastille, you must make a decision next time to elect someone who genuinely cares about you, the people of West Bastille. Not an individual who is all about himself. That isn't what you want, because that isn't what you put persons in the parliament to do for you. Whether they're in opposition or they're in government, they must be there inside and outside of the parliament advocating on your behalf. That is what you elect people to do, to serve you, and to serve you with a sense of humility. Not persons who are going to come to parliament, be rude, and be disruptive. Grandstand and nothing to say. Where does that leave you as a people? Where does it get you? As the persons in this constituency, as one person said in the back, it gets you nowhere. You have time to think. You have time to do differently whenever the election is called, whether it is this year or next year or in 2020. Cutie ain't in jail with you. And so this government will continue to look after the people of West Bastille. That is why we are pursuing a TVET program in particular for young people. Because whether you're from West Bastille, Boyd's, Trinity, Hummingbirds, McTinley, Village, Buckley's, wherever you're from in West Bastille, or you're from Sandy Point or Cayon, we are saying to the young people that we want you to upgrade your technical vocational skills. And so we have invested some $20 million with the assistance of the Caribbean Development Bank in our technical vocational education training. The AGM keep speaking to this particular matter, and he has said to me that by September, he wants to see our young people in our school doing coding, doing programming. I don't have the money in my budget to pay for the extra teachers, but I suppose the AG might have some extra money in his that he can help me out with. But we want our young people to be able to compete with other young persons, not just here in the region, but throughout the entire world. And that is why we want to start teaching them computer programming. Technology is the way that the world has been going, and the world will continue to go in that direction. Our children must not be left behind. And this Team Unity administration will not leave our children behind. The last town hall meeting we had, I spoke about the fact that the young basketballers, the young footballers, well, not footballers, the young basketballers, netballers, volleyballers, those into the performing arts, they have been saying to this government that they need an indoor facility. Carnival has been saying to government, we need an indoor facility. That is why the Department of Sports, that is why we went and engaged an architect to begin the designs for that multi-purpose facility, and we now have the design for the facility. I have said, and I repeat, that we are not satisfied with the seating capacity, and so we have said to the architect that we need some amendments to be made to the drawing. If you go back and you look in our manifesto, it is one of the promises that we have made to the people of this federation, and it is a promise that we are pursuing because we do not take lightly. We do not take lightly the commitment that we made to the young people in particular. This morning I was at the Kim Collins Stadium for a press conference being held by SKN AAA. And that is in light of the fact that you have the inter-primary and inter-high school meets coming up. I want to encourage all of you to go out and support the primary school children this weekend at Kim Collins, and the following weekend, the high school students, same venue, the Kim Collins Stadium. I know some of you have been arguing that there has been an increase in the price of tickets, but consider it to be an investment in your children. While I must make it clear that the increase has had nothing to do with the government, but that's a decision by SK and AAA, which is responsible for organizing the government. Go out and invest in your children. No offense to Lindsay, but when music festival arrives, you're going to find the $100 to go and see a foreign artist. Similarly, find the $10 and $20 and $30 and $50 to go and invest in your own local artists, your children. As a matter of fact, Dr. William Connor Primary School is the defending champions for the Inter-Primary School Championship. One of the points that I made today, though, is just as we are looking after those for cricket, those for volleyball, netball, basketball, similarly, this year, the ministry has been given an allocation for a capital project of $4.95 million to begin to do upgrades at the Kim Collins Stadium. The government, again, is investing money in the young people of this country. As we have been able to name one facility after Kim Collins, who has now retired, we have to continue to invest in our young people so we can have other facilities being named after our young people who can go and shine on the international stage. I said to you, we are not leaving out anyone. And so we are looking after the old, we are looking after the in-between, and we are looking after the young. We're looking after PAM, we're looking after Labour, we're looking after PLP, we're looking after CCM, and we're looking after NRP. We are looking after all of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so whether it is constituency number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, Nevis 9, 10, or 11, this Team Unity administration will continue to look after you. I understand that for the elections which were held today in Grenada, the NNP once more won all 15 seats. That is the sister party of the People's Action Movement led by Dr. Keith Mitchell. Well, just as Keith Mitchell has been able to do it in Grenada, that is our goal for the next election in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I said to you, whether it is this year, next year, or 2020, to win all 11 seats. Good night and God bless you.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.